Alright guys, welcome to Brian Ninja, another American Ninja Warrior review. Today we're finally done with qualifying, thankfully, and we're on to the semifinals for Season 17. And it's American Ninja Warrior Season 17, Episode 7. We're finally on to the semifinals, and today we're talking about the episode, the course, the ninjas, everything. The unfortunate thing about this is that the first part of the course is kind of the same, so there's not much to talk about. Because we have the same course as weeks 1 and 4. We're back to the quad steps, the log grip, the block run, the spin cycle, battering ram, and warp wall. No mega wall, just a warp wall because it's semifinals. But everything else is exactly the same. I think, like I've said this before, the season has way too much repetition. But like having them repeat again for finals is even more annoying. I thought we might have some like repetition because I knew they wouldn't have like all new, like 10 different obstacles for finals. But I thought maybe we'd have like at least a mix up of different courses. But this is completely the same as week 1, just used again. So I'm guessing they filmed like weeks 1 and 4 qualifying, then this finals, then they swapped out the first 2, then the finals for like 2 and 5, then 3 and 6. Like, I mean, logistically that makes sense, but they could have still done that more so they had more differences, because now we have three of the same front half of the course where it's the same 6 obstacles. This time we have the finals attached to it with the other 4 obstacles, but still, like, the same stretch of 6 obstacles being used in 3 episodes is pretty bad and very repetitive, and I was already annoyed by the repetition, but this is even worse. So yeah, I'm not happy with that. But it's, like I said, the 6 obstacles. I think maybe one change is that the battering ram is a bit easier to slide along. They didn't say anything about it, but I feel like the things moved easily. They still locked into place at the end, but I feel like they slid along easier, which could make it a bit easier to like get through, so the back half of the course isn't as hard, to get more people to the back half, and then to make it so they have more strength for the back half. So I could see that. That could just be me like thinking that, but it seemed like it was a bit easier to me and it slid more freely, but I don't know for sure. Then we have the salmon ladder as number 7. Back, I would say that it's always there, but it's been a few years since it's been there because we haven't had this format in a few years. I forgot about that because I wasn't watching, but the previous few years it was a racing format. So now we're finally back to having a salmon ladder in its rightful position. I've thought in the past that they should replace the salmon ladder here, but I honestly don't mind it here. It's kind of like a consistency, continuity thing, because a lot of stuff on the show has changed, obviously, so I kind of don't mind having a predictable 7th obstacle with the salmon ladder here, and it works well with the 8th obstacle always, so that's a good thing as well. But one thing I noticed about salmon ladder this year, and I think this is the first time they've done it, is that the top rung you have to get to is also the top of the ladder. There's no more rungs to go up. Like usually they have a bunch of rungs past where you have to go that you could do if you want to, but no one really uses them because it's not worth it. There's no real reason to go up there. Sometimes people might go for like 1 extra to get better leverage on the 8th obstacle, but no one goes all the way up. So this season they just went to the minimum rung, the minimum height to make it. There's nothing past that. So that was interesting to notice. It kind of makes sense, honestly, but I kind of like the idea of having more just so they want to use it. But that's no one used it in the past, so it doesn't really matter. But that's one change for the salmon ladder that I noticed. Then we have Cannonball Alley, which is back for the first time in 10 years. It debuted in Season 6, came back in Season 7, and now in Season 17. But there's also a little difference to this one, because first of all, I believe there's a difference. Maybe it was like this the second time it appeared in 2015, I don't know. But it's like a smaller ball, then a bigger one that's higher up, and then farther away there's another one. I think in season 6 it was like a small one, then a medium one, then a large one, kind of equally spaced and going down a little bit. Then Season 7 might have been like changed the order, like small, large, medium, I think. Maybe, I don't really remember. I was there, but I can't really remember now. But this one's different in the fact that it like goes uphill from the first to the second, and then you have to shade to the third. Like everyone has to shade from the second to the third by like hugging the second one, going to the third, which makes it tough. I think this obstacle had a much better success rate than Season 6, but I think it might have been harder. But just because we have a much higher caliber of competitor now, it wasn't as hard. It wasn't appearing to be as hard, but I think it was pretty tough still. And the dismount was also tougher because you had to make a big swing. Not that it's really that hard to swing on a cannonball, but after everything else, it could be tough on your grip to have to make a big dismount instead of just like drop down. So that was bigger as well, I noticed. So it kind of changed the impetus of the obstacle to be more the third cannonball instead of like the second. And I mean, the third cannonball was always kind of the tough part, but I feel like it was more focused on the third cannonball this time, and no one really failed before it. So that's just something I noticed. And then they had the doorknob arch for obstacle 9, which is another obstacle that hasn't appeared in, I believe, 10 years. Yeah, because it was, no, I think it, yeah, I think, okay, yeah, 10 years. I switched back to what I said before. I think it was 10 years, but either way, it appeared twice. And it's, this version of it at least is 27 doorknobs. They go in an arch shape like this, like an upside down U, like a parabola. And there's 6 of them out of the 27 that spin, and they have a blue indicator around it to mark that they spin. So people can kind of easily avoid them. Of course, they have to reach past it, kind of bigger reach. But I think it's worth it because the spinning ones are a lot harder to grab, obviously, because they spin, so you can't really get a good grip on them. So I think it's worth it to skip them. And the fact that they mark them kind of makes it easier, but still people kind of have to use them sometimes, so I guess it makes sense. And either way, I like this obstacle. It's a tough one. It's kind of just like a simple grip strength obstacle, which I don't mind. Same with Cannonball Alley, so I like that. And then speaking of simple grip strength obstacles I don't mind, the 10th obstacle is Invisible Ladder. It's back for the first time in 9 years. We have a lot of like 9 to 10 year comebacks this episode, but the Invisible Ladder is back. They changed it to elevator climb in season 9, which was too hard in my opinion. But I like the Invisible Ladder always. I think that's the right amount. It's a similar idea, but it's a bit easier than the elevator climb. And it's basically pumping the rings up. You have to go like this in a much more athletically draining way than what I just did. We have to go up like this, 30 feet with the rings. You have to pump them up and make it to the top. And people really struggle. Even the best ninjas struggle on it. And I kind of forgot that when I was watching. So I was like, why are these people having trouble? Then I remember that's actually a tough obstacle. Because I'm kind of used to Spider Trap, which has been there for the past many years, starting in season 10. So I'm kind of used to that. So when I saw someone struggling with the 10th obstacle, I kind of forgot how hard the Invisible Ladder was, especially when it first came out. And now it's first coming back, so people aren't really like ready for it. So it's interesting to see how tough that was. So overall, I like the back half of the course. I think it's good. I do hope it changes. It's not really the part that needs to change. The front part needs to change more, but I don't think the front part will change. So I hope the back half changes a bit next week. But I'm kind of afraid it's going to be the same Cannonball Alley and Doorknob Arch every week. Please no, because we need some more different obstacles. I think I've seen the what's it called? The 3 wheels that drop, that turn down and drop. Corkscrew. I think I've seen the corkscrew in the ad for this, so I think the corkscrew will replace Cannonball Alley at some point. And it's probably another length obstacle. But yeah, I hope there is, because we need some more. We really need new first obstacles to the course, like the front half, but I don't think that'll happen. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, the course overall is good, and I like it. I think it's simple. It's tough, but simple overall. Like, there's nothing too crazy about it, and all the obstacles are kind of like simple points. So I like that. I feel like all the obstacles in theory I could do, like not together and just putting it all together I couldn't do, but I think I could do all these obstacles in a vacuum, like separately and with a bunch of attempts, which I know doesn't really count, but like by my standards it's not bad, so I noticed that. So yeah, now I gotta read the names on here, but I gotta turn the light on, I guess. So first we have William the Spider-Man Brown. He's a throwback competitor. He was in seasons 4 through 7, I believe they said, and they talked about his past. And I noticed when he went to the battering ram, he had a good run up to this point, but on the back of the battering ram, he had like his hand was on the very back of the cylinder. It was very close to getting off and either falling onto the metal beam or just falling off completely. So it was close, but he made it, and Aqua pointed out as well. He made it through that, but then he failed the Cannonball Alley. He failed the shade to the 3rd cannonball. He had a good run going, but he just couldn't grab the 3rd one, and he fell. But a very solid comeback run. I try not to do the hand movements to like, oh, he was holding the cannonball like this, because I always do that, and it doesn't, I don't know why I do it, because it doesn't really explain anything. But I don't know, because I feel like I can't speak about it very well. I'm like trying to like, oh, he's grabbing it like this. I'm trying to keep my hands on here so it doesn't seem like I'm like giving some demonstration that doesn't make sense. It probably won't work, but yeah. Then that Karen Brooks from Wright. I guess she got married since last time, because I don't think her last name was Wright before. But she was mid-cut to spin cycle, so they skipped the first 3 obstacles. They met her at spin cycle. As I said, the talking thing is not very good. They cut to her at spin cycle. And she was the first one to make it to Cannonball Alley, which is kind of an interesting stat. I don't like all the like history things. Like, history's been made, this happened, you know. But this is actually an interesting one, because Cannonball Alley's been around for a while, both for being in 2 seasons and just for being around for 11 years. It's an interesting stat that she's the first one to make it there, so I appreciated that. She failed the shade as well. She was kind of short of the cannonball, but still a good run. And yeah, very respectable performance there. Oh yeah, okay. I was trying to read what I wrote there, because I wrote tiny so I can fit it on the end of this post-it note. Then that Enzo DiFiore Wilson, they say he's starting to line dance and his family's doing it as well. I don't know how people can line dance, because it's one of those like kind of country things. I just don't know how to do it or how to have the rhythm of it. But he did it, and they had like the different skits of like people line dancing as well. I heard someone knock over there. I hope not, because that'll be embarrassing while I'm filming this review. But yeah, they may come to the battering ram. So another mid-cut. They kind of do this in semifinals a lot to fit 2 runs in the same segment. Typically the semifinals, since it's 10 obstacles and most people make it far into it that they show, typically there's 1 run per segment, but when they want to cram in 2, they have to do like 2 mid-cuts usually. That's why we had 1 cut to the 4th obstacle, 1 to the 5th obstacle, just in order to fit 2 in, because otherwise they can't really wedge people in like that. It's kind of one flaw of the semifinals format, is they can only have like 1 run per segment typically, or at least 1 full run. It's kind of how in the past I felt like they should make the course shorter for that reason, but now I kind of like it being longer again because that's what it used to be. So I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely weird that they have to like do all these mid cuts to fit more than one run in a segment. It's just weird. Or show two really short-lived runs, like people that fail the 5th and 8th obstacle or something. Otherwise, it doesn't really work. But yeah, that's one thing about the format of the show. But anyway, they may come to the battering ram, and they gave two weird stats on his run. First, they said that he was the first time they made it to the 9th obstacle on a finals course, which isn't really a fair stat because it makes it sound like he hasn't done well in finals really, or done that well. But it's because in the past couple seasons, it's been the racing thing, so it hasn't been 9th obstacle. Because season 15 and 16 were racing. I guess 13 and 14 he did fail, like maybe the 8th obstacle. I don't know because I don't remember that well. I think season 13 he failed the padlock in semifinals, and 14 I didn't watch, but he probably failed something along those lines. But it's still like kind of a stat that doesn't mean as much or hold as much weight as they thought, so or they implied. So yeah. Then another stat that didn't hold as much weight as they implied is the fact that they said that only 9 people have cleared the doorknob arch in the past, which sounds like that's pretty low at single digits, but only 21 have made it there, so it's almost half that attempted cleared it before this episode. So it's kind of one of those stats that I'm not saying it's like a high clear rate, but it felt like they were not giving the full picture. Because it's a tough obstacle, but it's not like that tough to the point that they imply like only 9 people have cleared it. Not that it was a big deal, but it's one of those things where you don't get the full context, so it sounds different than it actually is. It's like that thing about lying with statistics. It's like that kind of, like you don't get the full picture. But not that matters. But I was surprised he made it to the invisible ladder. He made it about a little bit over halfway up, but he failed, and he was very upset, very disappointed. And I was surprised they failed there, but again, like I said in the course intro, I forgot how hard the invisible ladder is and how much people struggle on it. Like even the good people like him and other good people in the past have struggled on it. So it's not as surprising as I thought, but in my mind, I think of the 10th obstacle as kind of like a gimme. So I was surprised that he failed it, but now in retrospect, it makes sense. But yeah, I wrote down that I was surprised because I expected he'd make up it, but now after all that upper body stuff, it makes sense that he didn't. But yeah, it's a tough course. Then they did RJ Roman, who, as I said in the past, I like RJ Roman. He's worked with me a lot on competitions and cheered me on, and I really appreciate RJ Roman. I'm glad they showed him in this episode as well, because they showed him qualifying in finals, which is kind of rare these days to get both with how many people they have and how many stories they like to cram in. But speaking of stories, they have kind of a tough one for him this week. The story is that he moved back to Jacksonville to take care of his dad. His dad has, I forget which, but he has a form of cancer. So he's taking care of his dad, and the show. The flip side, the bright side of it is that he's spending more time with his dad as well, and stuff like that, and they their relationship. So that's really good that he's going up there to take care of him, but obviously very tough that he has to in the first place. So that's a tough story, as it always is when they have like those updates. It's like kind of a more serious thing. So I'm sorry to RJ, but I hope he's doing well, and he did well on the course. He had a very efficient cannonball alley where they pulled back from the first to the second, then the shade to the third. Oh, there I go with the hands again. I can't stop it. But he basically did like one move to third, so it was very efficient, saved strength and saved time. So that's good. And then he was also on the doorknob arch. I want to say doorknob drop, but doorknob arch. He did like a bunch of spinning moves where he's like flipping his hands around to get through it. I really want to do a hand thing right now to show what I'm saying, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm resisting the urge. But basically, like instead of going like forward on it, he kind of like spinning around, rotating to reach it, which is good, but I think kind of risky because you're swinging around more. But it worked out for him. He made it through that, and then he made it to invisible ladder, and he also failed on it, which again I was kind of surprised. But at this point, I was kind of remembering like, oh, this is a tough obstacle, and I kind of realized that's more the obstacle than competitor because it's a tough one. But he's definitely disappointed they didn't make it, but he's moving on, so that's fine, and he did very well. So good job to him, and best wishes with everything for him. Then they had Carson Williams. Yeah, so I ain't write down much for this because I was kind of talking to my sister at the time. But it's good to see Carson Williams as always. He had a good run. He made it to the doorknob drop, doorknob arch, sorry. He got to the very end of it, but he was kind of had a foot on the platform when he fell into the water. Like, he was very close, but he just couldn't quite make it. I think his grip gave out, so that's unfortunate. But I believe he's moving on. Yeah, I think he is moving on. I don't know why my throat is like hurting right now. So that's why if my voice sounds weird, we can blame it on that because it sounds very off to me. I'm gonna try to see the cutoff here if my laptop will connect to Wi-Fi. I don't think it will. I have my laptop down here for the lighting, so I don't have to have these lights on. But it also could be good for research if it will connect. I don't think so. Let me see real quick. Sorry. Okay. Loading. Okay, no, that's not gonna work. I should write it down, but I don't I already don't want to use too much paper. And honestly, I don't want to spend time writing it down, so I don't. But yeah, so I think he. Why isn't my stupid laptop connected in the driveway? Stupid. This is a very first world problem, but you know, come on now. I'm trying to connect to a different Wi-Fi network. Cause this is stuff like this. I mean, it's my fault for not being prepared, obviously, but like I should be able to look it up. I have my laptop here. Okay, whatever. I think he made it. I think he moved on. I'll put an errors note on the bottom if not. But good to see him as always. That was my main point before I got annoyed with my Wi-Fi. But yeah, so he had a decent run. Probably not as good as he probably wanted to clear, but he had a decent run. Then Isabella Wakeham, or Isabella Folsom now, because she got married, but I wrote down the wrong name. But her story was that she got married to Sam Folsom, and she cleared the course. And this is like kind of goes to show how far like the women's results have came this season, because obviously her clearing was a big deal, but it wasn't like the big fanfare that you expect when a woman clears a 10 obstacle course, like back when Casey cleared it, or even some of the newer ones like in season 11 when Michelle and Jessie cleared the course. It was much more like, okay, a woman cleared it. So that shows how much the progress they have made on the course. That's really good to see, and it's very good to see her clear. So good job to Isabella for clearing the course. That's very good. Then they had Kyle Soderman, and they kind of did a thing where they shoehorned in like another person here. I don't know who he is because I don't really know celebrities typically like that. But it's a wrestling guy. They had him in the booth commentating with Matt and Akbar, and it kind of went over my head. But something about wrestling, he's a wrestling host. And all I wrote for Kyle Soderman is that he had a very close dismount on doorknob drop, because a lot of people want to dismount early from the doorknob drop because the last few doorknobs are going down like this, like kind of like an archway part. So no one really wants to use those because they're close to the platform anyway and they're already above it. So they kind of dismount, but you have to dismount kind of backwards away from the wall, because otherwise you're going to hit the wall on your way down to the platform. So it's kind of an awkward angle, and he almost was short on it, but he made it through. But it's kind of a sketchy landing, but he made it through. And then he failed the invisible ladder, unfortunately. A lot of people failed the invisible ladder that I don't think expected to, because it looks simple, but it's pretty deadly. So yeah, he's another casualty of that. But good run overall, good to see him back. And good that the wrestling guy left the booth, because I don't really know who he is. Then they had Isaiah Thomas. He cleared in 3:38.79, which is a very fast time. That's literally all I wrote down, but he had a very good run. So yeah, I think this is the one that my phone ran out of battery during this time, so I couldn't type it on my phone, so I had to insert it later, and I didn't write much. But he had a very good run. And very efficient to get 3:38 on this course. With 10 obstacles and some pretty long obstacles like the invisible ladder, that's a pretty good time. A very good time. Then they had the Chatterbox Ninja, Caden Forza. His story was that he likes to rock climb, and then they showed his grandparents rock climb with him, which is cool. Very impressive that they can do that. That's my goal for when I'm older. One of my goals is to be able to still do stuff, let alone rock climbing, just like literally like anything. But if I can rock climb, I'll be very happy. So that's a cool story. And yeah, they rock climbing. He cleared the course. He did well. He had very good leg movements on the invisible ladder, which they pointed out. Like he was kind of using his hips and lower body to his advantage to get up the invisible ladder as well, instead of just going like all out brute strength on his arms. He was kind of doing more like an even division of like the whole momentum with his body. So that's good. And he made it up and cleared, so good for him. And yeah. Then they had Jessie Graff, and they showed her not early, but earlier on than expected in this episode, which was kind of a sign, I feel like, that she wouldn't do great, just based on how they like to show people. But I kind of thought she might clear because they showed her later in the episode than Isabella, who did clear, so I was kind of expecting her to clear. And they talked about her history, like she's in USA vs. the World, the first woman on USA vs. the World, the first woman to clear stage 1, and that the only gap in her resumes was failing the semifinals. She never cleared it yet, so she wanted to clear a 10 obstacle course, so I was really pulling for her too. But unfortunately, she failed the cannonball alley. She missed the last cannonball, the third one, the typical failing point of this course. And they compared her to Isabella on the cannonball alley, and they showed how Isabella Wakeham wrapped around the cannonball like this. And she tried to, and Jessie tried to, but she kind of like was uneven with it, and she missed with her left hand, I believe. So she didn't get the same wrap around the top, and that's what caused her to miss, at least according to Akbar's analysis. So that's unfortunate, but she still had a good run, and I need my list. I can't say who's moving on. I should just know based on looking at leaderboard, but I can't remember. But she had a very good run. I don't think she's moving on, but I could be wrong with that. But either way, I definitely wanted to make it farther, but not a bad run at all. And good to see her back. Then they had Daniel Gill. They fast forwarded him, which I wish they showed him, but I know they have a lot of people to show now. But they fast forwarded him, and he cleared the course, and he got a slave for his buzzer, which apparently is the second most of anyone on the show, which is a pretty good stat. So good for him. Then they had Naxa Gilmore, who his profile piece was about driving, like a driving lesson where he's trying to learn how to drive and stuff. So that's cool. He was driving a car that used to be like the car that my mom drove like several years ago. I noticed that. It's not relevant, but I noticed that. And that was the point of his story. But he said that he's gonna save the speeding for the course instead of the street, which I guess is a good strategy in many ways. But very good that he is driving. I'm kind of in an endless loop about driving here. Let's move on to the course. But they said something that was kind of dumb to me because they showed like an 80 obstacle streak before the course started that he's cleared 80 obstacles in a row. This is where I like semantically disagree with it because he failed stage 4. They don't count stage 4 as an obstacle, or at least they don't count stage 4 as an obstacle in the sense of like they didn't fail, they timed out. But timing out by definition is a fail. Like the exact quote that I wrote down here is that they said he's never failed, only ran out of time, or only timed out. I forget what they said, but he's never failed, only timed out. That's like, by definition, that's failing. With part of Ninja, if you run out of time, you fail. And that's not to downgrade him at all. The fact that he's never fallen in the water is really impressive. But like, that counts as a fail, I'm sorry. And that's the show, not him. But it's like, I don't know why they do that. So then they showed, every time he cleared an obstacle, they showed the little thing on the left of the screen that showed like a counter going up to 90 until when he cleared the course. Which is very cool that he's cleared that many obstacles. So I don't know, you know, there's not many people that can say that at this point at all. But like, to me, the final stage broke a streak. And if he failed an obstacle, like say if he ran out of time on the worst one on stage 1, that would also end his streak because you time out. Like that's part of the, just because you time out an obstacle doesn't mean you don't fail it. In fact, it means you do fail it because you don't clear it. So that's kind of the thing where there's a disconnect in the semantics. Not that it matters to results or anything, but it's kind of like it presents things in a weird way, and I don't think it's very accurate. So yeah. But yeah, so they said that he's the fastest clear on the finals course in 10 years, which is very impressive. That is very impressive, and you can't take away that with any weird semantic thing that they want to do. So very good for him. I made a joke during his run based on his name that I did not pay off because his name is Naxa. I said he's more like NASA, but I meant to say NASCAR, but I said NASA, so it didn't really have the effect I wanted to have. It wasn't that good in the first place, but it was even worse by the fact that I said the wrong brand. But Naxa, more like NASCAR, that's good. I made up for it there, even though I kind of gave it away in advance. But he was very fast, that's my point. I don't even know what I'm doing here anymore. Then they had Elijah Browning. He was the final round of the night, which kind of interesting. Not say interesting choice like that, but like I would expect them to show someone more like Jesse last or Daniel Gill, but they show Elijah Brown last, which is cool. I like Elijah Brown. He seems like a good ninja. He seems very committed, and like he does a lot outside of ninja as well, which I like that balance. That's good to have. And he did very well on the course, but unfortunately he failed the invisible ladder, and he was very like palpably visibly disappointed by that, which I get. I think a lot of people that failed the invisible ladder were. I think that's partly because a lot of people have seen it in the past, but before they were competing, because most of these people, or a lot of these people weren't competing in season 7 or 8 when it was on. So I think a lot of people have kind of seen it and been like, oh, that obstacle, you know, it's back. It'll be cool to try. I can probably do it. Because it's arguably simpler than a lot of the newer obstacles that they've thrown at them since. But I think a lot of people were surprised how hard it was, so they're kind of disappointed not to make it because they wrote it off in their head like, oh, that'll be easy. That's kind of my analysis. I'm just guessing. But I think that's definitely the case because I kind of thought that myself when I was seeing it. Like, oh, this would be an easy obstacle, and then people struggled. So I think that's where a lot of people went with that one, which I get. But it's a very tough obstacle. It's very simple and very tough, and I very much like it because it's a good one. That was a very circular. I like it because it's a simple but effective obstacle. That's what I should have said. I was gonna say I like it because it's good. But my overall opinions for the episode are that I think it was a good one. I think I wish they changed the first 6 obstacles, as I said at the start. I feel like that would have been a lot better to have at least a couple things different. Even if they mixed up the course where it was like, say, quadriceps obviously, but then like log grip, and then they went to log runner, which I hate to say because they've shown that so much already. But like, just for the sake of having different courses combined, then you got spin cycle, and then you could have crank it up, for example. Just anything to have. No, actually, crank it up wasn't a 5th obstacle. What was? It's a bad example. Then Ferris wheels. That's just like an example of like what to do instead of having the same 6 obstacles together again. I get that they probably filmed it in blocks. In fact, I'm sure they filmed it that way because that makes sense. Like they filmed episodes 1, 4, and 7 together with the same set of opening obstacles, the same 6 obstacles at the start. So I get it, but I think they should change a couple, even if it's just like 1 per episode. Like, what if they did where they filmed like the 3 together still, but they changed like one of them each time? That would at least make it a bit more different. But this time there was like very little variation in that respect, which I don't like. And I'm like very confident that next week will be the quadsteps. What's the second one? The one with the Ferris wheels and the log runner and the spin cycle and not lunatic ledges. The third second obstacle that's not lunatic ledges or not the log grip. I forget what it is. The flat wheels. So it's probably gonna be that course again. Sorry that took so long, but it's probably gonna be that course again. And then the week after that will be the lunatic ledges, log runner, crank it up, and what is it? This is a very bad demonstration. That course with the other ones. What is the? I need my laptop to connect to the Wi-Fi because I have a lot of things I forget and I need to. This is bothering me. Okay, what's lunatic ledges? Log runner, crank it up, and V formation. V formation. Yeah, that course. That took a very long time to say, but that's probably gonna be like the week 8 and week 9 respectively will be those 2 courses with different stuff on the back. I'm guessing they might change the 8th obstacle each time maybe and keep everything else the same. That's kind of my guess actually now that I think about it, because I've seen this the 8th obstacle change before with the what's it called? I don't really feel like I used to. I used to know all that stuff like off the top of my head. Now I don't know, and it's annoying to me because I used to know everything so well. But that one with the wheels that drop, what's it called? I said it before in this video, I forget what it is, but let's go to Sasukepedia. It's not working. This Wi-Fi is ridiculous. They put 5G everywhere and it got worse, I swear. Well, it really didn't change because I don't know what it's called. Okay. The one with the 3 wheels that spin and drop, that's coming up. I don't know what it's called, unfortunately, and I did before, but I forgot. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I should have signed off when I originally said thank you for watching, because I had nothing else really valuable to add. But I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next week for another ANW review. We're getting to the end of this season, and I'm kind of ready for it, because these reviews are kind of pointless at this point. But I appreciate you guys for watching anyway. Thank you, and peace out.